Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is from the CBN. I am Williamisi Dada. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria at its second meeting of the year Monday and Tuesday in Abuja noted the downside risks to the optimism for significant improvement in global output recovery this year. The risks come largely from the uncertainty surrounding the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines in handling the new variants of the coronavirus and the speedy deployment of the vaccines across the globe. In the domestic economy, however, the committee says the exit from recession in the fourth quarter of last year brought renewed hope for full recovery this year, despite the obvious downside risks to the entire global economy. Today on the program, we have details of the MPC considerations and decisions, the question and answer session with the CBN governor during the press briefing, a look at the Global Money Week, and more. But first, here are the top stories from the Central Bank of Nigeria this week. Six members of the CBN Monetary Policy Committee voted to maintain all monetary parameters at its two-day meeting, which held earlier in the week at the Apex Bank's headquarters in Abuja. While making the announcement during the press briefing that usually follows the committee meeting, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele said increasing the interest rate will raise the cost of borrowing and reduce access to credit for businesses, which might reverse the current growth trend of the economy.
Members expressed concern about the unabated rising trend of domestic prices and emphasized the exigency for monetary and fiscal policy collaboration to finance productive ventures, improve aggregate supply, and push down prices. The MPC reiterated its concerns on the activities of persons and groups causing security challenges in the food producing areas of the country, as this has contributed to the major uptick in food prices across the land. Committee thus called for a collaborative and coordinated effort by all the relevant agencies and stakeholders towards addressing the prevailing insecurity issues and social challenges. At this meeting, the dilemma that confronted the Monetary Policy Committee relates to whether to continue to focus on efforts to stimulate output growth or whether to focus on reining in inflation, which at 17.33% is almost attaining the January 2017 inflation level of 18.72%. MPC was also worried that the level of unemployment must be addressed swiftly so as to moderate the restiveness among the populace. Again, members were generally of the view that given that the exit from recession is fragile, any decision to tighten or rein in inflation may reverse the fragile recovery and return the country back to recession. It therefore feels that a hold position, which encourages management to continue to use its various intervention mechanisms to deploy liquidity into employment generation and output stimulating sectors of the economy, will be desirable, as this would help consolidate the country's recovery process. The committee therefore decided by a vote of 3 members to increase MPR by 50, 75, and 50 basis points respectively, and 6 members voted to hold all parameters constant. In summary, MPC voted 1 to retain MPR at 11.5%, 2 retain asymmetric corridor of plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR, 3 retain the CRR at 27.5%, and 4 retain liquidity ratio at 30%.
In keeping with the drive towards food self-sufficiency in the country within the shortest time possible, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, on Thursday unveiled several rice pyramids in Gombe State. The unveiling was at the occasion to flag off the 2021 dry season rice cultivation and 2020 wet season harvest aggregation and sale of rice paddy to millers under the CBN Refund Anchor Bearers program in the state. At a similar event in Kebbi State earlier in the month, Mr. Emefiele had revealed that about 3 million farmers cultivating close to 4 million hectares of land across 21 commodities through 23 participating financial institutions have been financed across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory from inception of the Anchor Bearers program till date. Both the CBN and the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria (RIFAN) have set a target of cultivating 1 million hectares of rice farms this season, an ambitious two-cycle production in the dry season to trigger a continuous drop in the price of rice across the country. The Central Bank of Nigeria has released the list of 47 approved international money transfer operators (IMTOs) as at February the 28th, 2021. The list made available Monday on its website at www.cbn.gov.ng and its Twitter handle at Centbank has Flutterwave Technology Solutions Limited, InterSwitch, MoneyGram, Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, PayPal, Western Union, and 41 other approved IMTOs. The CBN aims to broaden the scope and scale of diaspora foreign exchange inflows while ensuring that remittances are made through formal channels. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has reiterated that the bank did not place any new restrictions on the use of cryptocurrency in Nigeria. In his keynote address delivered by the CBN Deputy Governor, Corporate Services Directorate, Mr. Edward Adamu, at the 30th Seminar for Finance Correspondents and Business Editors in Lagos and Abuja last Saturday, Emefiele said the recent directive from the bank only amplified an earlier regulation on the subject of cryptocurrency meant to protect the financial system and the generality of Nigerians from the risks inherent in crypto asset transactions, which have escalated in recent times. He added that the blockchain technology can, however, be harnessed by fintech companies in areas that could benefit the economy. The governor said there are several examples where blockchain has been used to facilitate and improve transparency in the settlement of trade transactions. The social media challenge put together by the Central Bank of Nigeria in celebration of this year's Global Money Week ends today, Friday the 26th. The CBN had, through its social media handles, invited eligible participants between ages 18 to 35 years to showcase their talents, artworks, and skills in a creative video of not more than 2 minutes or through photograph, in line with the theme, "Take care of yourself, take care of your money," for a chance to win an Apple MacBook Pro, HP Pavilion X360, and Apple iPad Pro. Top 10 entries will be selected for the grand finale that will take place via Zoom on March the 30th. Global Money Week is an annual financial awareness campaign to highlight the importance of teaching young people about finance. And that's the news.
Up until a few years ago, Nigeria produced far less than it consumed, spending up to $22 billion annually on importation. Then came the import policy by the federal government. Now, to survive, the nation must learn to be self-sufficient. And so far, we are on the verge of achieving this through the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders in support of local farmers and efforts of value chain entrepreneurs. Now, the goal of creating 10 million jobs in 5 years through 10 commodities is gradually being actualized. Let's buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Welcome back. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, provided answers to the questions raised by journalists at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting press briefing on Tuesday.
When you adopt a tight monetary policy stance, what it does is that it constrains liquidity, makes interest rates high, and makes life difficult for those who want to access credit. If people cannot access credit, then it means they cannot go into gainful productive activity, that would help stimulate growth, output growth, and therefore help. So on one hand, monetary policy felt, look, we have these twin challenges which are running in opposite directions. You want to stimulate output growth. What you need to do is to loosen, stimulate the economy so that output growth can be stimulated, consumption spending can be stimulated. Whereas on the other hand, you have inflationary pressures confronting you. Inflation itself has its own damaging effect on purchasing power and the standard of living of the people. And what you will find is that what you need to do to tame it is to adopt some measures that tightens liquidity so as to rein in inflation. And Monetary Policy Committee members came to the conclusion that given that we're just crawling out of recession, there's a need for us to continue to do those things that we did, and more intensely, those things that we did that took us out of recession, looking at supporting interventions, particularly in the agricultural sector, in the manufacturing sector, in the ICT sector, in the services sector that where we had double-digit growth, in the creative industry sector, in all those other sectors that helped us to exit the recession. We should look at intervening in the health sector. We should look at possibility of even doing more, creating more loans through our targeted credit facilities for our households and small businesses, particularly that were adversely impacted by COVID. Knowing fully well that when we support these households and medium and small enterprises, what that will result is that it will stimulate consumption spending that will ultimately lead to aggregate demand and then bolster our gross domestic product. Let me repeat that Nigeria has not changed from its foreign exchange management policies. Nigeria still remains on a managed float. What does the managed float regime mean? That the central bank, being the institution that has a core mandate for foreign exchange management in the country, would run the market, see to how the market operates, depending on its reading about how exchange rate moves in the market, will come from time to time to intervene in the foreign exchange market. It might interest us to know that since January, the CBN has not intervened in the I&E window. The market has always operated within a band of around close to about 409. In fact, at some point, it attained 412, went to 413, and began to move. And that is where it's supposed to move. And then central bank's job is to watch the market and see how it's operating, and from there determine whether or not it should intervene to moderate the rates in the market in line with our own reading of where we think exchange rate should be. So when Bloomberg begins to conclude from the statements of the minister, which I believe is not true because I've not heard that audio, that we have moved into a flexible exchange rate regime, I would just try to appeal to members of our press community that when you have an information, it is always better for you to seek clarification, particularly from the authority. Section 2A of the CBN Act, and I will read, places the object, it says the principal object of the CBN shall be A, ensure monetary and price stability. B, right, issue legal currency in Nigeria. C, maintain external reserves to safeguard the international value of the legal tender. That means that the core mandate for determination of exchange rate rests with the CBN. We have been working with the Ministry of Finance, with the government, to see to how we moderate and see to it that we achieve a stable exchange rate regime in the country. So what I would expect that the minister would have talked about when asked is at what rate is inflows being monetized. And in line with the extant rules of the IMF, a country is deemed to be not to be practicing what is called monetary currency practices as long as its rate varies or ranges around a band that is not more than 2% below the dominant market rate. In our case, the dominant market rate is NFX. So if the minister says that the rate for monetization is anchored or benchmark on NFX, the minister has not talked about flexible exchange rate, which is the kind of conclusions that has been drawn by those who listened or read a report of Bloomberg. What we have done again at the CBN is to say that for those who are enjoying our anchor borrower programs, or those some of our prime anchors that we are so funding in paddy rice, in maize, in sorghum, in different type of crops, we have started to insist that we do not want them to repay us with naira, but that we want to now take hold of those produce, take it at a particular price that we have agreed with the farmers or with the millers, and based on that, we moderate price. And we're just praying and hoping that this is like a temporary assignment that CBN has taken on itself. By the time the Nigerian Commodity Exchange gets fully on ground, this is the full responsibility of the Nigerian Commodity Exchange that will be given to them, so they can buy and sell, be the major player in commodity market, and stabilize price for the good of Nigerians. So I think that we're moving in the right direction. This is the first time where CBN even came out very aggressively to fund dry season farming. We're encouraging more and more people to go into irrigation farming, so that we don't have a situation where after harvesting wet season, right, rainy season output, there is no irrigation farming, and during the period of when they're planting, prices skyrocket and therefore create panic amongst our people. I'll say that part of the measures that we have adopted is that on a weekly basis, the CBN disburses not less than $80 million to the banks, either for PTAs, that's personal travels, or business travels, or payment of school fees. And we have decided, indeed, management will be deciding on how we are going to create a desk, a complaints desk, where you can call us or call some of our people who will respond. It's like what's called those kind of desks, call centers, where people can call that he went to a particular bank and he didn't get money to pay school fees, or he didn't get money to travel. I repeat, there's no need for anybody to panic. Luckily, we have exited recession, so that's one positive. 2, crude prices are moving up. 3, we are aggressively focusing on diaspora remittances. 4, we are looking to how we can continue to encourage foreign investors into the country. So we are very, very optimistic that there is enough, and there will continue to be enough foreign exchange for people to meet their obligations. We just need people to be patient. Before the impasse between the banks and the telcos, the customers through the banks were being charged as high as almost 14 or 16 naira for a session of USSD. It triggered this disagreement. The CBN said that banks cannot be charged. The NCC said the customers cannot be charged. It created some disagreement where we had some deadlock, but eventually the NCC, who is the regulator of the telecom, the CBN, regulator of the banks, came together with the banks and telcos and resolved that the cost of USSD will be a maximum of 6 naira 98 kobo. So what does that mean? If you are lucky, you could be charged less than 6 naira 98 kobo, but the maximum will be 6 naira 98 kobo rather than 14 or 16 naira that people were paying before. So I would imagine that we will benefit more of financial inclusion, and then we'll also find that it will result in also cost savings to the users of the USSD facility.
Thanks for staying tuned. Global Money Week is an annual global awareness raising campaign on the importance of ensuring that young people from an early age are financially aware and are gradually acquiring the knowledge, skills, and behaviors necessary to make sound financial decisions and ultimately achieve financial resilience. We asked a few people to talk about the Money Week. Let's listen to them.
Talking about money, it's a medium of exchange that we all know, that we are all familiar with. And as a school principal, I will want to encourage my students to be able to save, however little. You know, there are some children, money for their food, they keep away something from it. It's not as if they won't eat, they will still eat. But whatever it is they are able to put away will serve a purpose. And you know, that's building themselves up. If they are able to imbibe that habit, it goes a long way. They grow with it. If you are earning 10,000, if you cannot save 100 naira from it, if you are earning 1 million, then you will not be able to save even 1,000. So it's something one needs to really grow up with. So I will encourage them that however little, whatever you have might be, put something away somewhere that you can always fall back on later. That's all I can say concerning savings. Yeah.
My advice or my take on it is to educate the younger ones on the way to keep money, to save money for the future. Not spending money on trivial things. They should be able to keep money for better things, not using money to buy things, unnecessary things. Because the days or the environment we are now, the situation in the country does not give room to spending money anyhow. So our teenagers, they should learn to keep money. They should learn to know how to save.
Personal savings or the money that you save for yourself, for future purpose. Like now, maybe you want to save money for, like, let's say you want to buy a car. So you start saving money, maybe monthly, weekly, like if you are working now, from your salary, like save, it's like your salary is like 40,000. Save 10,000 out of it. Maybe in the next 2 years or 3 years, you have gotten the money you want to use to buy your car. Then you go and buy your car. But I'm not really like saved money for something relevant. I only save money for my birthday. So from my feeding allowance and stuff, so I save money from it every day for my birthday or for the holiday and stuff.
I don't know much about Global Money Week, but I think it has to do basically with, savings, investments, and all that. Well, I think it's a good one because, like we all know, money is a medium of exchange, and it's important to save money. I say that because, emergencies may arise, and then also for building the future. I think more young people need to be aware of savings. They should be encouraged to save more, for the future. Anything can happen. And apart from that, the situation of the country right now, people don't rely on jobs anymore. People need to start building something that can help them in future. I'm talking about young ones now, teenagers. So I think it's a good awareness that people should know about savings. And for me, it has always been a culture, right from when I started working. Even when I was in school, I started saving, and I can tell you that it has helped me a lot. It has helped me to become a disciplined person and helped me to manage money better.
part of activities commemorating this year's Global Money Week, the CBN offered an opportunity for young people aged 18 to 35 years to showcase their talents, artworks, and skills in a social media challenge and win exciting prizes. So, if you are interested and eligible to take part in the challenge, quickly go to our Twitter handle now, showing on your screen, for a link to the details, as the challenge closes today and winners will be announced on the 30th of March. That's all from the CBN this week. Remember to log on to the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria, www.cbn.gov.ng, to find out more about the people-oriented initiatives of the Apex Bank, such as the targeted credit facility and other economic interventions that are still ongoing. Call the CBN contact center using the phone line below for your valid complaints. Remember, local call rates may apply. Send in your comments and contributions to the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com and follow us on the social media for updates and uploaded episode of the program. I am William Dada. Stay safe and bye for now.